Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, the first one, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my story as hidden identity? I am a man and I have come here because I have my own confession that I want to share with you. I used to be a good man before I had met a woman whom I'll call Prudence. She was the one who made me to become this evil, even though I used to be a very good man. Before I had met Prudence, I was working for this other man who was training me to become a bricklayer. So we would go around and I would be helping him. So we then went to Pretoria in this other location. So at the house where we were busy building, next door, the house was being used by the people from the White Garment Church. So those people, they used to help anyone. If you could go there, you would stand in line and then you will get your prophecy. That was what I wanted at that time, because I saw that there were things in my life that were happening that I could not understand. My life was moving really slowly, so I just wanted to know if I was ever going to make it in South Africa or I would return back being a poor man that I was. We went there, but there was a lot of people. We then sat down in the queue, so that was when I saw Prudence. I looked at her and I saw that there was something that was wrong with her, because she seemed so stressed about something, and I could tell that she had been crying and she seemed so weak. But what I liked about her was she had a beautiful body structure and she was light-skinned in complexion, and I just liked her from that time. I really do not know how it happened exactly, but she looked at me and we started making eye contact. After she had been assisted by the prophet, when she was leaving the yard, that was when I lied to my friend that there was something that I wanted to buy at this other spaza shop that was close by. I ran outside. When Prudence turned around, when she saw that I was following her, she then slowed down and she said, I can see that you are interested in me. What is it that you want to tell me? Please make it fast. She then showed me the house where she was staying, which was not even far from the place where we were. She said, my husband's sister, she can see me, and I'm scared that if she sees me, then she is going to tell my husband, and that we have been fighting with my husband. My husband will say that this is the reason as to why I do not want to be intimate with him, even though we have other problems. I then said, okay, since you have said that you want me to get your phone numbers, we will talk. That very same evening, I called her and I asked her, and she told me that her husband was dating a South African woman and another Zimbabwean woman, so which meant that he now had 3 women in his life and he wanted to have a polygamous marriage. But the problem was that he was poor. He only had that one room in which they were staying. So she was like, these 2 women, they're going to come and stay with me in the same room. How are we going to live with each other? 4 people in one room. So she was very stressed. She told me that she had gone for days without eating, and by then she was sitting outside. I then said why. She told me that her husband had kicked her out because he wanted to sleep with her, but then she said, I am weak, I am depressed, I really do not know if I can be able to sleep with you. And then the man kicked her out and he started to speak with his other girlfriends. So I then said, can I come and see you? And she said, of course, if you want to. I then went to her place and waited outside. She came and we looked for a place where we could just sit and we can just talk. Then one thing led to another. Then I started touching her. She responded so nicely, and then we made love. She said to me that the way that I made love to her, it was something that she never imagined was going to happen like that, and she was very happy. She said, thank you for healing my heart. And then I returned back to the place where I was staying. Soon after that, Brother Nanshimi and this woman, we kept on dating. I was in love with her. She was a good woman, so she seemed. I did not know her true colors yet. And then I said, we cannot stay in this location. Let me look for another place. We looked for another place and we started staying there. And when I would go to work, people would tell me and they would say, do you know that your girlfriend, Prudence, whenever you are not around, there are men that comes into your room and they spend the entire day with her. She is cheating on you. Because I was in denial, because I had taken a woman from a man that was abusing her. So I thought that this was what was going to make Prudence love me even more, because I had rescued her from a man whom she considered to be the child of Satan. But yet here she was, the one that had learned to cheat on me, the one that had learned to lie. And because of the love that I had for her and because of her beauty, I still was in denial. I did not want to lose such a beautiful woman that I had never been with like before in my entire life. So she was my pride and joy. So then I moved, and I thought that maybe in the location where we were staying, the men were the ones that were giving her too much pressure. We then moved to another location. She did the same thing and she was sleeping around, and we moved again the third time. So when we moved for the third time, back in those days, like if you came from Zim, it was easy for you to apply for a study permit or any other permit. So those that were wise back in those days, they did their things, they went to school, upgraded themselves, and finally they got their permanent resident citizenships. But some of us, we never thought that things will change in South Africa. We were just interested being called hard workers. That was all that we cared about. All we wanted was to work, you get your money, and you return back home. So Prudence was someone that was very wise and intelligent. She knew what was happening at that time. She then spoke with me and she said, I want you to help me so that I can get a student visa, then I can start to go to college. And I was the one that was going to take her through college. We went through the process. It was very expensive to apply. Finally, she was able to get a student visa, and then she started to go to school, and then she got a sponsorship. After that, she went on her attachments and she started working for Nedbank. When she started working, my brother, I was so excited. I was full of pride and joy that my wife was now working in this big bank. She had a great job. Life was going to be amazing. The only little problem that I had with Prudence was that she had promised me that after the attachments, she was going to make sure that she fall pregnant for me. But then she started changing. Right now, I can't fall pregnant for you. I'm scared that if I fall pregnant right now, they'll say that maybe I'm not serious about working. So let us wait for about a year. Then after a year, I can fall pregnant for you. So I then said, okay, it's fine. The following year, another story. Then what I did, and it was very foolish of me, I wanted to please my new wife. I wanted him to know that I loved her. I then said, all of your brothers, those that are still going to school, those want to go to college, I want them to come to South Africa. So we went and we did the whole process with her having the right papers. It was easy. They came, they started going to college, and I did not know that I was setting up myself for failure, because I was still a hustler and she was now a highly educated woman, still progressing with learning. She kept on going to school, yet I did not even think about it. So I thought that since I was the one that had lifted her up, she was going to respect me and we were going to build a future together. We were staying in the location. The house where we were staying, it was a full house, but I was not on the lease agreement because remember, I did not have any papers at all. So it said Prudence was the one who was the tenant because she was the one who had the bank statements that proved that she was working for a company, and I was just doing some piece jobs. So it was as if I did not even exist at all. I said it is fine. I kept on working, and then what happened, Brother Nanji, was that I then bought a vehicle because now I was able to get some piece jobs in other areas which were very expensive. Like when we went to Durban, I started working at this other hotel as a contractor. They wanted me to paint the whole hotel, but when I gave them a quotation, they said that I'll first paint the outside, then the inside. When I finished painting the interior, that was when I was able to buy my first vehicle. The challenge that I was facing back in those days, we used to use a permit that was called an asylum seeker's permit. With that permit, you were even allowed to open a bank account and you could get a traffic reg. So when I went there, I don't know if it was the devil or what was happening, because the man that was behind the counter, he then said, I can't let you register when you have an asylum. But yet there were other men that also had their asylum seekers permit that he had managed to get their traffic register, so that you can be able to be recognized when you are a foreigner. You need a traffic register so that you can buy a car or to do anything. So without that, even if you buy a car, that car you can't go and license it, you can't do anything with it. Now that I had a vehicle, I did not know what else to do. When that man told me that he was not going to assist me, I should go back. And then when I was driving back home, that was when I started thinking a lot. And I said, but my wife, she has all the proper documentation. I love my wife and she loves me back. I am going to make sure that this car, it is going to be registered in her name so that we don't lose this vehicle. So I spoke with my wife and then she said it is fine. She then went to the traffic department. She changed the ownership and the car was now in her name. I did not have anything. And then we started to fight. She started dating other guys. The time when I found out that this was what was happening, she was dating another South African guy who had a good job as well, who was well educated, and they would go on dinner dates. I found out about this other dinner dates that I had never bought for her because I was still struggling in life. I could not afford to go for lunch with him or to go to a dinner date. When I confronted her, all hell broke loose. She then called her brothers and she told her brothers that I was fighting with her and she did not know what to do. They came. They did not want to understand my side of the story. All that they did was to listen to their sister. You know what they did, Brother Nash? Me and my girlfriend, we had been fighting. So I went into the bedroom and I was sitting on the bed. I was only wearing a boxer short with no t-shirt. I did not know that she had called her brothers, and I did not know that her brothers would come to the bedroom as well. So they just came and they opened the bedroom. I was shocked because in our culture, such a thing is not even allowed to happen. For your brother-in-law to enter into the bedroom which her sister sleeps with her man, it is a taboo. But they entered and they dragged me from the bed. They did not even want to hear anything, any explanation. They dragged me across the floor and then they dragged me outside. They even saw my private part. That is how much hurt I was. Your brother-in-law, the brother to the sister that you sleep with, then the brother sees your private parts when he is dragging you like that. It was a very painful thing for me to experience. They dragged me outside and they told me that I should find another place to stay. So they were just embarrassed because the people, they started coming out. They wanted to see what was the commotion all about. They threw some clothes at me. I had to walk from that place where I was working, going to the location where one of my friends was staying. That is where I slept. From there on, I started hustling and I knew that I had lost everything, but I had too much pain in my heart. So in Durban, where I was working, there was this other man whom we used to work with. He was from Mozambique. I then told him my story, all the pain that I had experienced in my life when I had taken Prudence to become my future wife and what she had done to me. And then he said to me, do you want revenge? If you want to seek revenge, I'm going to assist you. He then spoke of a man that was staying in Mpumalanga. He said, if you want, we can go together to Mpumalanga. So I worked. I did not know that if you do a go back to sender, it will involve other spirits of the dead and tokoloshis. So we left Durban. We then went to Mpumalanga, and we arrived at that man's house who was the relative of that Mozambican man who wanted me to get help. So this man, he was using a black mamba to assist people at his shrine. He then said that he wanted to give me an egg, and this egg, it was going to hatch a snake, and I was supposed to take care of that snake. This was what was going to assist me to get my revenge. I took it and I did as he had instructed me to do when I arrived in Durban. And I heard that Prudence had a terrible accident and her back, her spinal cord had been broken and she was on a wheelchair. Within a very short period of time, her brothers, they started to get sick and they died. Then I started to get a lot of people that were assisting me. I'll just pick up money in the street. I did not know that this money that was being brought to me, this money, it was money that was being given to me by the Tokoloshi. By the time that I started to enjoy life, that was when I started to have spiritual encounters. I would see a black mamba that would suddenly appear in front of me. I quickly rushed back to Mpumalanga. Then that man, he then said that what I was supposed to do was that I was supposed to go back to Zim and go to the village where Prudence was staying and where her brothers were buried, and I was supposed to go at one of his brothers' grave, and then I was supposed to take some soil, a lot of it, and bring it back with me to South Africa. I did as I had been instructed to do. I had a backpack, a Chamas backpack that I took with me to Zim, and then I went to the graveyard, and then I took a shovel. Then I started to collect the soil from the grave until I had filled that Chamas backpack with the soil. I then returned back to South Africa. People did not even know that I had all of this soil that was inside my backpack. I went to Mpumalanga. He did some rituals, and then he told me that when I make money, I was supposed to buy a coffin. I did as I had been instructed to do. Then I put the soil inside that coffin as well as close to the gate, because I've since bought a house in South Africa. So close to the gate there is a small flower bed. He told me to look for a plastic bottle, to cut it, and then to put some soil in there and cover it with a plastic and dig it into that flower bed. So anyone that works at my place, I will show you this flower bed, and I will tell you that no matter what, you are not supposed to touch it, you are not supposed to work there. If you see any weeds, you tell me, and I would go there and I remove the weeds by myself. If you try to do anything, the black mamba will come out trying to bite you. So this is what I did, and this is what gives me money. There are days at night when I have to go into this other room where the coffin is, and then I sleep on top of the soil that is inside that coffin. When I sleep, then the snake will come and it will coil itself on top of me, and then both of us, we just fall fast asleep. And I do this so that I can maintain my wealth. I did this not because I wanted to, but Prudence, she pushed me to the edge. She made me do things that I never thought that I will ever do in my entire life. And I am not a bad person. I am someone that is kind-hearted. I did all the things that I did to him because I thought that she was an honest woman. I did not know that she was going to betray me in this way. But yes, indeed, she betrayed me. And I now have to live this lifestyle where I have to regularly see a black mamba. Sometimes when I least expect to see a black mamba, then it will just appear in front of me, something that is not easy. It is not an easy thing to do. This I tell you. When you post my story, please tell me. I will follow in the comment section. I want you to tell your listeners that wherever you hear people talking about a go back to sender, it is not the Spirit of God that they are going to use, but they use the spirit of someone that has died so that they can be able to make your enemies to suffer. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Let us try to speak with our brother in the comment section. Have you ever done something good for your partner, then they turn around and they betray you? If so, please come to my inbox and then you share with me your own side of the story.